Mmm. Mmm. Old man, look at my pie, healthy and it tastes good.
I am old and I am cray. My hair is blue instead of gray. Together we can cook this fat away. Pie diet, pie diet. My kitchen's small because it's old like me. I don't have room for cookbooks. But that's okay because my recipes are easy. They only have 4 ingredients. 4 ingredients. Okay, I'm going to use a tablespoon of butter. You can use coconut oil, but butter tastes better.
Everyone knows it's butter.
Oh, that's me.
After you wash your hands, of course, you're going to slice the peaches first because we need to cook them for a little bit while we're making the crust. So, I got these today and they're not quite right. And it's a little harder to get them off of the pits. So I slice them in quarters. And then it makes it a little easier to pull those pits out.
The pits are the pits.
Okay. Pie diet is really the best thing for you. None of us eats enough pie fruit. And pie is the perfect way to do that.
Oh, they're so healthy and it smells awesome already.
There's just an endless variety of fruits that you can make into pies. So the pie diet never gets boring.
Yeah, pie diet's never boring. I'll have my pie a la mode.
How about with frozen yogurt? That would be a better alternative.
You mean I can lose this muffin top?
Yes, you can. And quit eating all those chocolate candy bars that they use wax to shape them into that shape.
Okay, I'll eat pie instead of craving snacks. Not much of a sacrifice there.
You know, my mom used to make my dad a pie a week from the time they first started dating. And he had so much trouble picking out what kind of pie he was going to have next. He'd get so excited he could hardly choose. And then recently I realized that my friends really enjoy getting a birthday pie instead of cake.
Birthday pie is the best gift ever.
First I cut up the peaches so that I can simmer them while we're making the pie crust. They'll be nice and tender and juicy, even if they weren't ripe. Now I have to say, it's the easiest way to do it is to cut it in quarters to get out the pits.
The pits are the pits.
Turn that on a low temperature. We're ready to make the crust. Okay, I use sea salt so I don't have to use as much. You really need some salt because it's really bland if you don't use salt, even if you use a salt substitute if you've got high blood pressure. So I have 2 cups of flour there. Now I have a 1/2 cup of oil. I like to use canola oil. I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of cold water. Now it has to be cold. It makes the dough user-friendly, easy to handle. You don't need to mix it, just pour it right in. Pour it in all at once. This is not the way your grandma made it, but it works out real nice. Now I even like to add a tablespoon of coconut oil. You can add it any time. It'll get mixed right in. We don't want to over mix it.
Yeah, I see flour at the bottom there.
That's okay if there's a little flour at the bottom. If you mix it up too much, it'll get tough.
Flour power, man.
To make it a quick and easy crust is two things: a wet sponge and a couple pieces of wax paper. I'm going to dampen the counter. And stick the wax paper to it. And it doesn't move around. Now I'm going to take a little more than half of the dough. Kind of shape it into a circle, but it never really rolls out perfectly round. The other piece of wax paper on it. And roll it out. When it reaches the edges of the paper, it's good. Peel off the top, lay it back down, flip it over. I'll peel off the bottom because it's the wetter, harder one to peel. Once it's in the pie pan, it's a little wrinkled, so it's hard to peel. That's why I took off the top one first, to make sure we got a nice even crust. Okay, put your hand in the middle underneath. Put the pie pan into it. Now this comes off much easier. So I do want to center it a little bit more. You can still move it. Okay, comes off pretty easy. Now you want to push the center down around the edges to make sure. Any place that's wrinkled, just press it out flat. Now if you have a little spot like this where you got no crust, you can piece that in too. There. We're all ready. Okay, the peaches are simmering nicely. We got plenty of juice. So I got 1/4 cup of sugar. That's all you'll need. Heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. And a couple of super heaping teaspoons of cornstarch. The cornstarch is what makes it thicker in the pie. It makes the juices thick. You can also use flour if you prefer. Okay, I'm going to mix this in.
Those peaches smell awesome already.
They are juicy.
Juices. Oh.
Okay, mix that real well.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to pour it into the pie pan. Yum, yum. Look at all those juices. Okay. Flatten it out just a little bit. We're ready to roll our bottom crust. Okay, it's time for the top crust. Moisten the counter. Stick your wax paper down. Get all the rest of the little bits of pie crust. Now if I make the top one square, I know just how big I need to roll it out to fit a 9-inch pie pan. The nice thing about making homemade crust is that you can choose what kind of flour you want to make it out of. You can even use whole wheat or rice or any other gluten-free.
Oh, pish posh and fiddly sticks, what the devil is gluten?
Gluten is wheat, and that's what white flour is made out of. But there's a lot of other flours out there on the market that you can buy.
Even Hooterville has rice flour, but it'll cost you.
Now flip it again. This just makes it so much easier.
Nice.
Okay. The wrinkles will get you. And you know this needs to come off easy because you just did it. Comes off a little bit easier if you don't add the extra tablespoon of coconut oil. Now I fold it in. I don't waste any crust. I don't cut anything off. Even long pieces like that, just tuck it inside to seal it. You want to go underneath the bottom crust if you can. And just roll it up if there's extra, because I like my pie crust nice and thick.
How can thick make you thinner?
Because it's no trans fat, silly.
Now
I like to make my friends a birthday pie. Let them choose whatever kind of pie they want for their birthday. And it's so much better for you than cake.
birthday pie is the best gift ever.
It's a lot easier to decorate too. Now to seal it completely, I just put it, my index finger between my finger and thumb. And this will seal in all the juices because you don't want any of it to bubble and boil out of there in that hot 400-degree oven.
And it looks marvelous.
You can even just add a little bit if it's kind of thin.
Absolutely marvelous.
We don't need it to be perfect. We want them to know it's homemade. This is better tasting than any of the perfect little pies you'd get at the bakeries. Believe me. Now we need to put a couple of little holes in this. Give a place for the steam to escape. There.
That says PP.
Yes, it stands for peach pie. And this is all the dishes it makes. Because you know washing dishes makes me
Cray cray. Hey, what smells so good?
peach pie. Oh, the whole house smells yummy when it's done. It's better than any candle or air freshener money could buy.